I know you did this. Alright, so all jokes aside, that was a few days ago and it was a little cooler then. Now the weather's warmed up quite a bit, and since then I've been able to check the valve clearance on the intake and exhaust. Nothing is standing out, so I'm kind of puzzled as to why the bike won't run and why the compression seems to be down just a little bit when I kickstart it. So like I said, I've checked the valve clearances. I've got one on the intake and one on the exhaust that is a little tight, but to me it's not all that much out of the tolerance range, so I'm kind of perplexed as to why I may be having a problem. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what's going on. I'm going to pull the head off, and like I said before, we're going to go ahead and do a top end rebuild anyway. And since then I have gone ahead and ordered a piston and some rings and a timing chain. It probably doesn't need a timing chain, but I'm gonna go ahead. They're not that expensive, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace the timing chain. And obviously got the gasket set. So all those have come in, and so we're gonna go ahead and start tearing this thing down and see if maybe there's something else deeper down inside that I'm not seeing, and so we'll get it figured out. All right, so let's get started by taking the cam cover off and then the cams. These you want to do in a sequence where when you put them on and take them off, you're undoing in a crisscross type pattern. As you pull these out, you're going to notice some bikes are different, but you've got one that's obviously longer than the other, so you want to keep track of where these go back. So what I do is over here on my table, I set it up to where when I take them off, it sort of looks like the way they went in. Now there'll be some clips that hold these overhead cams in place from sliding back and forth, so you want to be careful and not letting those come loose. So as you pull this off, make sure you're careful to keep track of these two clips that are on this cam, and you want to kind of come off evenly. All right, so here are your clips, and they're going to be different sizes. Now you have an exhaust and an intake cam, right? These have weights on them, and that helps out when you're initially starting the engine to kind of drop the compression down. I'm going to replace the timing chain anyway, so I've let that drop down into the bottom, which is not a big deal. I'm going to pull the flywheel case off, pull the flywheel off, and replace the timing chain. So right now we'll go ahead and pull the head off. As you pull this head off, you got to make sure that you're very careful in coming up with it, that it's got pins in there to line it up. They're alignment pins basically. And so you want to ease it up evenly as you take it off. All right. So far now, I've pulled the head off, the cylinder, I've pulled the piston off. So all that's out right now. Still nothing is apparent to me as to why this thing's not running. Timing chain seemed to be tight, so we're just going to keep plugging away. And so right now everything's unplugged, and either way I've got a rag stuff down here so nothing falls down into the lower part of the engine. Alright, so here's our box of goodies that hopefully are going to make this thing run again. I went ahead and got a new hour meter. This is a hardline hour meter that I'm going to mount on the bike. The old one, the battery's starting to die, and I like this one. I've got this one on the 2020, and so I really like the different options that it has. So I'm going to put this on also. And I've got a mount that Moose makes that I'm going to mount it when it comes in. So packing slip we don't need. And so here's an OEM piston that we're going to put on. It had, the previous owner put a Pro Circuit piston in it at about 20 some hours, I think. And so, you know, I went ahead, I like to go back OEM. It just seems to work better for me. I like putting back stock. So there's really nothing wrong with this piston. I think everything's okay. Just clean it up, and maybe just put some new rings on it. But I went ahead and ordered a stock piston. So this is the stock piston we're going to put back in it. And so the smaller valve cutouts are for the front, which is the exhaust, and then this is the intake. It's got a little dot. It'll show you that points to the front. So that's the new piston. Got gasket kit. These are the rings. They're all OEM. Got a wrist pin and circlips. So I got a new wrist pin, circlips, all that kind of comes with a kit. And then here's the timing chain. So that's a new timing chain. It'll go in, and that'll be for another video. So the next video you'll see, hopefully Ike will be helping me out, and we'll put all this in, and hopefully it will run when we get it back together. If not, we got a bigger problem.